Imagine a world where change wasn't something that we had to be afraid of, but it was something that we could welcome into our life to lift us up to higher places and help us reach the next part of our journey. I want to share this perspective with you that can make that reality true. And it's a perspective that I've been living through in my life that has drastically changed my experience. And I believe if you can embrace this perspective, even just a little bit of the perspective, it can change the way you see the world and also how you experience life around you. So I believe that everything we've been taught about change up until now is wrong. It's broken, it's upside down, it's leading us in the wrong direction. Right now in our society, most people believe that change is something that happens unexpectedly and to us. It is something that comes out of the blue, knocks us off course, and it doesn't work in our favor. And that we have to continuously wait for something to arrive unexpectedly in order for our life to change. And I don't think that's the only way and best way that we can think about change, especially as something that's going to be around forever. I believe there is a new way of thinking that we can embrace that will make this entire experience with change a lot better, a lot more enjoyable, and something that we can welcome into our life so that we can use change as a way to co-create our destiny and co-create the life that we want to live. The idea is this: change is an energy that we can dip into to co-create our life and our experience. We can actually have a hand in the process of change, and we don't have to wait for something to happen unexpectedly for the process to initiate. And this is a topic that I've been researching for the past 3 years as I've been writing a book about this idea. And so I want to share in this video how the current way of thinking of change is holding you back and holding our society back, and also how this new way of thinking can propel you forward and make the experience of change a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable, and give you a few ideas and approaches on ways that you can start to co-create with this available energy. So when we think about the current way we think about change, like I said, it's that unexpected event that arrives in our life that we react to. I almost see this as a conveyor belt. You're sitting there as the conveyor belt's passing by and you're waiting for something to arrive. And a change arrives unexpectedly. It rattles your world, it knocks you off course, and you react to it and fix it as quick as possible, and then you go back to living life, sitting at that conveyor belt, waiting for the next thing to come. And the difficult part about this is it gives you no sense of agency because you are waiting for life to come to you. You're waiting for something to happen to you to change your life instead of having a hand in the process. And a lot of times when we wait for these unexpected things and we have this relationship with them that they're not there to support us, we can start to feel like a victim of the things that are happening to us and carry this mentality in other parts of our life. And so we can start to think and believe that the world is out to get us, everything that always happens to me is bad, and that there's no good out there. And if you carry that as your frequency and your energy and your perspective, you'll attract those type of experiences. And the reason why I want to share this idea with you today is because I feel like there is another reality available as it relates to change that can completely shift that experience so you don't have to feel like it's always happening to you. But before I talk about this new way of thinking and this new approach that we can take, I want to just give you a quick visual of how the current way of thinking may play out. You can think about it through the context of having a job. You're working your job and you're just kind of going through the motions, doing your daily tasks, joining your meetings, listening to your manager that annoys you or frustrates you, and you think things are going well. But then all of a sudden one day you come into work and you are unexpectedly laid off. and you are shocked. You're in disbelief because you weren't expecting it and you weren't prepared for it. And now you're swimming in this fear and worry because you have to find a way to make the ends meet and pay your bills. And so you react as quick as possible to fix it, to find your next job, even if it's not a job you actually want. And then you go back to working that job and just going through the motions, stabilizing your life, waiting for that next unexpected thing to happen to create a change in your life. The thing that most people miss when viewing change through this current way of thinking is they miss the fact that that unexpected event could be a stepping stone into a better direction. It could be a reroute or a detour. I want you to understand that your experience with change doesn't have to be that experience. It doesn't have to be unpleasant. It doesn't have to feel like you're the victim of it. It doesn't have to feel like change weighs down your world. There's a better approach out there that I've experienced in my life that will make the process and journey a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. This new way of thinking about change that I want to talk about will help change hold a different place in your life. It will change your relationship with change. So it kind of looks like this. This is how the new world looks, the new way of thinking. Change is this ever-flowing energy that you can dip into to co-create your destiny and your reality with. You can have a hand in the process of change, and you don't have to wait for something to happen to you to start that process. The way that I see it is, if the current way that we think about change is like a conveyor belt, the new way is like a river that flows beneath the surface of your life, that you can dip into at any moment to co-create your reality and co-create your life with. There is an energy there that's available to you to start the process of change, to help you move forward in your journey. Whether you want to find out the more that is out there for you in life, whether you want to find out how to make it through the in-between, or whether you just want to simply grow. This energy is there to help you do that. And so when we think about this new way of thinking, change operates on callings. It operates on nudges and whispers, and that's what makes it this co-creation. You know, you're in relationship with the energy, and there's almost a dialogue between the two. And all you really need to do is tune in just enough to hear the whisper, to hear the nudge, to hear what may be calling you to start the process of change. And these callings, you know, most traditionally people will understand as vocations, like these really big life callings to a profession, for example. Maybe it's to be a doctor, or to be a teacher, or to be a politician. But callings could also be much smaller than a vocation. A calling could also be just being pulled towards something new in your life, or deeper into something. You know, maybe you want to help your kid learn how to play an instrument, or maybe you want to contribute to your community more, or maybe you want to write annual thank you letters. Or a calling could also just be a calling toward a specific change. Like, I want to improve the way that I end my day, or I want to improve the way that I feel in my relationship. Now, regardless of the level or size of calling you feel in your life when you tune in, all of those callings will require you to change in some capacity. In some way, you will need to make a shift to have something or explore something that isn't currently a part of your life. The other part about callings that may surprise you is the unexpected events that happen in life, because those are inevitable. We can't avoid those. This new way of thinking doesn't get you out of the fact that an unexpected thing may happen, but it does change and improve the experience of it. And so in this new way of thinking, these unexpected events are callings themselves. Instead of them being something that's happening to us, they're information, or they're a detour, if we're aware of it, that can help us get to something in life that feels more aligned. And so while the old way of thinking may say, quickly fix it, patch it up so you can restabilize your life, the new way of thinking says, hold on a second, first feel the emotions, process the emotions of the unexpected event, because it's important to not dismiss that. That's part of the experience. But then ask yourself, what is this unexpected event asking of me? What is it nudging me toward? For example, if we look back at the example of losing your job, in this new way of thinking, the unexpected event would be a moment for you to ask yourself, is this the career that I actually want? Is this the role that I actually want? Maybe you didn't even realize you were in the wrong job until you got laid off. And then you went, maybe I don't even like that job anyway. Maybe I want a different career path. And then all of a sudden, this unexpected event became your greatest calling and your greatest reroute to something that feels more aligned, that feels more like what you want to do, that brings you more fulfillment. And so a calling could be something that you receive as a whisper or a nudge, something that you feel pulled to, or it can be the unexpected event that happens that then you look at as information that you can use to inform how you want to adapt, change, shift, or act. Now, there's one part about change, regardless of how you think of it, that is always going to be true, that we can't unchange. And it's the fact that your brain wants a stable environment. Your brain wants predictability, which is what makes change so hard in the first place. Because at any point in time a change arises or you get the idea to change, your brain's like, whoa. I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to change. I don't want things to feel unstable and look different. I want to just remain cool, calm, collected. And while your brain may crave that stability, your soul craves evolution. Your soul is here to learn, experience, and expand. It becomes almost your responsibility in a way to honor the desire that your soul has to evolve and expand, and not ignore the fear of the brain, but put more focus on this pull toward the growth and the transformation. But because your brain is always going to be a part of the process, it will be hard at first to want to make that first step. And that's completely understandable. We're all going to feel the fear at first of whoa, I don't want to go down that path. That's my brain speaking. That's your brain speaking. But then as you think about it more, about the change you're going to make or what you want to do, you're I really want that evolution. I want that growth. That's your soul speaking. And we need to listen to the soul's voice and not the brain's voice, because often the brain's voice is just fear. And fear is holding you back from the things that you truly desire. If we continue to run away from our fear, we're just going to continue to run away from the things that we actually desire. Because it's often that fear only comes up when we're up against something that we want. If you didn't want to do something, you wouldn't fear it because you wouldn't need to, because you knew you weren't considering it. But as soon as you start considering something that might stretch you, fear comes up. And fear is an indication of where we may need to go next in our life. And so while this fear of change is never going away, what matters most is just changing the way that we focus on it and how we hold it in this container in our life. And I really like this idea that it's an indication. It's a green light. It's a sign that you are walking in the right direction. Now, if we don't flip our view of change in the way that we think about it, from something that's happening to us and that's only happening through unexpected things, to something that's happening for us that we have a hand in the process of, we run the risk of always living with this really unpleasant relationship with change. And because it's never going away, that means you're always going to have this friction in your life and this tension when change may arise. And if you don't deliberately change your life, especially when you're stuck in these in-between moments or feeling like you're in a life you don't belong in, you're going to get to the end of your life and be like, dang, I wasted my precious years. It's really important that we start to see change as this opportunity and a doorway into infinite possibilities, because once you do start to change, you start to initiate this process of expansion, and you allow the magic of life in the universe to take place, and things just start to happen in these really unexplainable ways. But then you look back and you're like, holy crap, look how much growth I've experienced. Look how far I've come. And that's all because I'd started to see change in a different way. I started to see it as this thing that I could work with, that I could co-create with, and I could have this really positive relationship with, instead of something that I was waiting for to hit me and blindside me and knock me off course. And so if there's anything I want you to take from this video, I just want you to understand that change is here to serve you. It is here to work in your favor, and it's not out to get you. But you will have to look at it through the lens that it is exactly that. You will have to look at it through the lens of, I can work with this. I have some agency in this process. I can have some control. And when you do that, you really empower yourself to be in a place where you're now using change as a lever that you can pull in your life to become who you desire and who you want to be right on time. I just fully believe if change is never going away, we need to come to a place where we have an approach that is sustainable and supportive and enjoyable. And in my life so far, this new way of thinking has really helped me and changed my experience with change drastically. And I hope it can do the exact same for you.